So hello everyone and welcome along to our live webinar. In this webinar, we will try to help you understand more about and learn more about the Lendlord software with a high-level overview. So today I'm joined by Daryl from the Canadian real estate show. Hi Daryl, you can say hello. And
hello. Thanks for being here.
yeah, so Daryl, what we tried to cover today is first how you can set up your account and start using Lendlord. Then I will demo how you can analyze property deals, how you can analyze flip deals, so property that you are going to buy, renovate, and then sell. And then we will touch on the other side of the platform. So after you acquire the property or while you basically own your existing portfolio, how you can manage your portfolio details. And then we'll discuss and we'll show you things about how you can manage your cash flow and generate relevant reports. But as I said, feel free to ask questions on the chat and we will try to answer as we go. So let's start with how to set up your Lendlord account. So on the main landing page, just create your free account. Basically, it's self onboarding. So you can just put your name, email, password, click proceed, and create your free account. And it will look like, let's start with the dashboard. So the platform, basically, we separate it to three main functionalities: invest, manage, finance. Under the invest functionality in the menu, currently we have the deal analyzer. Rental is for rental properties. So if you want to analyze deals for buying properties and then let it out and rent it. Flip is to analyze deals for flip project. So you buy the property, renovate it, and then after that, sell it. On the manage side of the platform, so here you have the portfolio overview. The portfolio overview, this is the place to see on a high level the data about your portfolio. My portfolio, this is the place to manage the details of your entire portfolio. You can apply filters. You can select different views. And we will basically dive into it after that. My tenants is the place to manage your tenants and tenancies. The payment schedule, you can manage the expected payments from each tenant and also track the rent collection. On the cash flow side, on the manage section on the menu, you can find the transactions. The transactions page, this is the place to track your income and expenses. You can also link your bank account, and once you link your bank account, you will get live feed from your bank account and you can allocate them to the relevant property. And if it's rent from tenants, you can also allocate it to a specific payment and also apply auto allocations. Profit and loss, this is the page to review your income and expenses over time. And you can see it for a specific property or subsets of properties together or for the entire portfolio. And of course, you can also apply the filters that you have on my portfolio. So if I want to see just my private owned properties. Okay, so the profit and loss, this is the page to see your income and expenses over time and apply filters. The reports page, here you can see there is different reports. It can be the general P&L for the entire portfolio or for a specific property. And also you can review it by ownership and other filters. So this is a high level overview. Now let's basically deep dive into the specific functionalities. So how to analyze new property deals? So in order to analyze deals, I will go from the menu to the invest part of the platform and click rental. I will click new just to start from scratch. And I'm starting with basically adding the address. You can add notes like for this specific deal, because basically you can after that save this deal and review it after that. So let's say currently just viewing. Then you should start with the purchase details box. So you just need to put two values, the purchase price and the expected monthly rent. And then the platform will put some defaults on the other fields, so you can immediately see the analysis for the first year and the long term. And starting this point, you can just tweak the data and get the information more accurate. So let's say that the property value is based on what you think is different than the purchase price. Just change it and basically it will affect some of the metrics. Then we calculate the land transfer tax based on the address. But if you think the number is wrong, you can also change it. It's editable. And if you are a first-time buyer, it's a different calculation. Then the improvement costs. So if you're going to do some kind of a renovation or invest in furnishing, make sure that you add it. You can also add some buffer as other costs, and you can click on add costs to basically you can be more specific, and after that you can see it in a report. So basically you have summary of the costs associated with purchasing this property, and the closing costs are basically all the costs that you will need that you will have when purchasing the property. It can be the legal fees that you will need to pay, the appraisal cost, title insurance, etc. And you can use again the other closing costs. And after you finish that, you will see the total purchase cost for this deal. The next section is the cash investment, and this basically communicate with the loan details. So let's say that you will get 70% loan to value. If you get a mortgage, I will change the rate to something that is now more reasonable. And this means that you will need to put down 226K. And please pay attention that the deposit that you need to put in the mortgage is lower, because you will need more cash to pay the taxes and the improvement costs and the closing costs. Then you can play with the mortgage details in terms of the mortgage term, the mortgage rate. The platform will calculate the monthly payment based on the rate, the mortgage fees, and you can also put the mortgage insurance. And every change that you do here will impact your metrics. Then after that, I will start with the annual operating expenses. So if your property taxes, you should add them here. Monthly operating expenses, if you're going to use a managing agent, a property manager, you can just put the amount that you are going to pay. If it's 10%, it basically takes it from the monthly rent, but you can just put an amount if you know it. If you have the landlord insurance, utilities, if you're going to pay on a monthly basis, maintenance, and also you can put a buffer for other monthly costs. Then the last section when you analyze the deal is the long-term assumptions section. And here, basically, you can put different assumptions. So it can be the occupancy rate in terms of the property vacancy. So if I put, let's say, 92%, it means that 1 month every year, the property will be without a tenant. But if you are more optimistic, you can take it to the higher level. how many years I want to analyze. So in this case, I'm going to analyze 10, but I can take it to 15, for instance. Annual property appreciation. So how much you think the property they will have like capital growth over the years. So you can put 3 here, the rental appreciation, and also the inflation. Let's say like put 5% just for instance. Then if you want, you can apply different assumptions. So you can add assumption set. So let's say I can put worst case scenario. Then in the worst case, the occupancy will be 92, to be only 1% every year. Let's say 0.5% rent appreciation and very high inflation. And then you can see how the metrics changes based on this assumption. Then you can basically build the best case scenario. Then let's say occupancy of 96, property appreciation of 5%, 3% rent appreciation, and let's say 4% inflation. And then you can just play with assumptions and you can say how it basically impact your long-term metrics and first year metrics. We will not deep dive into the different metrics. Perhaps we can do a different webinar for that or release some videos. So after you've basically completed the analysis, click on Save as Prospect. And once you do that, the prospect property will be available on my portfolio. So to see the prospect properties, I will just click on, I will deselect the existing properties and select the prospect properties. I can also change to the performance view on my portfolio so I can see the analysis metrics. And then I can also compare different properties and I can also order by the columns. So you can see they can compare the different metrics on different two properties. If I want to go back to the analysis, I can just need to hover over the property row and click Deal Analyzer. Another thing that you can do is to go to the prospect report. So if I click on the prospect report, you will get a summary of the deal. You can upload some pictures and you can see the purchase details, basically all the data that you entered in the previous page, just more organized. And you can see the development of the property value based on your assumptions over the years and the mortgage balance that in this case, it's a capital and interest way of payment. So the mortgage balance is going down, your equity is going up over the years. You can also see the development of your cash flow based on the rent appreciation assumption and the inflation assumption and the different expenses that you will have on a monthly basis. And this table also can show you the holding period breakdown over the years. And you can also export this property as a PDF and share it with others to get feedback. So this was the deal analyzer. And the next topic is how to analyze flip deals. So flip, basically, it's almost similar. I will go from the invest to the flip section. And again, it starts with typing the address. You can add notes, the purchase details. So let's say that I'm going to purchase this property, say 80,000. And here, basically, this is the place, the improvement costs is to add all the costs associated with the refurbishment, renovation of this property. So you can put it as a high level, but you can be more specific. So if I'm going to do a roof repair, and I can add the other costs as well. Just in case, let's put something more significant as a general field. Again, I have also the closing costs here. I will use the other as well, just to save some time. And the total costs will be 98. Then again, the cash investment versus the loan, because it's a flip project, the term of the project is usually shorter. So here basically we use months. And let's say that you take finance for that, mainly it will be bridge finance. So in this case, if I take, let's take it higher, perhaps like to 65%, you can put the monthly rent rate of the loan, and you can put some, if there are fees associated with the loan, you can put them here. And it's interesting to see how the length will, of course, impact your net profit because the loan costs will be higher. Then here you can put the monthly costs for these projects, if there are, and the sell details. So basically, in the end of the project, I'm expecting to sell the property. In this case, let's say 50. I'm going to pay 2% commission, and I will have 2,000 more on sell costs. And here, basically, you can see the ROI of the project, the net profit, what will be like the total loan costs, and how much cash basically I need to put down in order to do this project. And here again, you can save the deal and see it after that on the My Portfolio page using the prospect dropdown. Let's go back. And you can also use the prospect page, upload the photos, and generate a report. Okay, so this was the invest part of the platform. If we have any questions, or Daryl, if you want to add anything, or TK, let me know.
Will you show the report? Because I think the reports are pretty strong.
Yeah, sure, of course. So let's go to the rental deal. Click prospect report, export, and basically you get this report. You can either print it or save it as a PDF and send it over. And we have plans to continue to improve the report and to make it more with more information and some other charts. From what we know from other users, it's very helpful when you want to share and get feedback from other investors, or even just send it to your partners if you have like some kind of a joint venture. All right. So now let's go. The next topic is how basically to manage my portfolio details. And this is on the manage part of the platform. So it's a different menu. It starts with the portfolio overview, a high-level summary of your current situation of the property of the portfolio. You can see the portfolio loan to value, how much equity you currently have, what was the 12 months cash flow, and the net cash flow. And this is based on tracking the income and expenses of each property. You can see important due dates, the status of your rent collection. This is November, so basically we just started it. The expenses breakdown, and also you have some charts that can show you the growth of your net cash flow, or the yield, the monthly yield of the portfolio. And the portfolio growth is something that I like. So if you growing your portfolio over the years, you can see growth of the total value, the debt, the loan balance, and the equity over the years. The most important page on the manage side is the My Portfolio page. And here you can add new properties by clicking add property. Then you have this right sidebar. Soon we are going to release a new version, so it will be basically dedicated page, some kind of a pop-up to add new property. And the sidebar basically is separated into different sections. So you have the general fields. So here you can put the address of the property, the purchase date, what was the price you purchased the property, and what is the current value based on your assumption, the monthly rental, the ownership, if you own it by yourself or if it's a company. If it's a company, you can manage different companies, and then you can filter your portfolio by different companies. And if it's private, you can put more than one owner. So let's say in this case, Oliver owns 50%, and I can add another owner. Let's say Liam, it owns the other 50. And I will show you after that why it's important, because you can filter the properties by owner, and you can see also the share, let's say in terms of equity of each owner based on the ownership percentage. You can put some notes and then go to the mortgage section. You can put the lender, mortgage start date. I will not enter all these details now, but it's a great place to track the current status of your debt. Then you can go to the property details section to add more details about the property. And I think it's a great place to store all the information that's relevant for this property. There are no mandatory fields, so you can just start with some of the data and then click edit and tweak it and add more data. After you add the property, the platform will suggest you with the next step if you want to add another property, or to go to set up the tenant and tenancy for this property, or to set up the cash flow for this property, or upload property documents. So Lendlord also allow you to upload documents. You can use this predefined document, or just add any document that's relevant to this property and you want to store it online in the cloud. So in my portfolio page, you can use the filters. So the filters, so you can see that the first look is for the entire portfolio. So all properties are basically checked, and you have the prospect properties, but let me just remove them. So if I want to see a specific property, I can just check this, tick the checkbox, or I want to see several properties together. I can filter by owner. So I want to see just Oliver's property, Oliver and Jack together. Now, if I want to see Oliver, but I want to see just the share of Oliver in the portfolio, I just need to use this toggle, and you can see that it took the equity down based on the percentage that Oliver owns on this portfolio. Another filter is the ownership. So if I have properties in private ownership under this account, I can just look at them. Or if I have under company, or I can also use specific company that I defined when I set up the company ownership. So the filters are a good way to slice and dice your portfolio and look at it in different filters. All the columns can be ordered, so sorted. So basically you can see by rental income from down top, top down, and basically any other field. And let's talk about views. So we have some predefined views. The default view are fields that we thought that are important to see, but you can use the column drop down and select and add other fields that you want to see in the default view and just save it. So I've added the postcode. If you want to take the postcode, let's say up, so you can just drag and drop and put it here, for instance, of the property address, and it will. So you can basically customize the view. The equity view is very simple. You can just see the property and how much equity you have. Usually I like to add also the loan to value. And you can create any view that you want. So just name it, so my own view, and select the columns that you want to see. Let's say the property address, purchase price, purchase date, purchase price, current property value, monthly rental income, and let's say even and the notes. Click done, save, and I created a new view. So it's very easy to customize my portfolio and create different views. If you want to export the data, just click on export to Excel, and in one click you have all the data available on Excel spreadsheet. You can also change to the map view, and map view basically it's a Google map, so you can see your properties like this and some data about each property. If you just getting started and you have existing portfolio stored on a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, you can click on upload portfolio CSV. There are some instructions, but you can upload a CSV file. So it's an Excel spreadsheet. You just need to save as a CSV, and then you can upload all the data in basically in one click. So this is my portfolio. If we have questions, and if not, I will go to the next topic. All right. Okay, so let's discuss property cash flow. Before then, the next step, usually after you add a property, I would add a tenant. So the tenants are under manage my tenants. On my tenants, you can see the list of the current leases that you have, and you can add a new tenant. You can put some details, contact details that you want to store about the tenant. Then the tenancy details, you need to allocate it to a specific property. If this property has more than one unit, you can name the unit. Then the tenancy period, what was the start date, what is the end date of this tenancy. What is the rent payment of this specific unit, and the frequency of the payments. Is it monthly, weekly, bi-weekly? If you have quarterly, you can also use it. And starting on, usually it will be the first day of the tenancy, but you can change this date as well. Rolling tenancy, I'm not sure if you have it in Canada, but basically it means that the tenancy agreement end date is now over, but the tenant basically still with your permission in the property, and then the platform will create payments row in the payment schedule after the tenancy end date. You can also set rental review reminders. So you can just need to decide when you want to review the rent for this specific unit, set up the date, and you will receive a reminder on the alerts sidebar. But you will also get it to your email, and you can define the email frequency on the settings page. If you have some details about the security of these tenants, you can edit if there is a guarantor, the contact details, and the deposit. You can put the deposit amount here and click save. After you click save, the platform will create for you the payment schedule for this tenant and tenancy. If you are not happy with what the platform has created, you can just edit it. So let's say that in July, I'm actually expecting the rent to be on the 4th, not the 1st. So you can tweak and edit the payment schedule before you save this tenancy. You can also add payments if there are payments that are missing. Let's and click submit. So I created now a tenant and a tenancy. If I go to the payment schedule page, I will see all my tenants and the expected payments for this period. And of course, I can play with the date. So if I want to see since October, I can see how much was paid. I can see each tenant, when he paid, if it was due, overdue. I can see how many days, and I can see overdue payments as well. And here as well, you can use the filters. So if I want to see a specific tenant, just deselect and select the tenant name, or I can view it by property and also by ownership or by payment status. So I want to see just the payments that are due, or the payments that are overdue, or the payments that already been paid. So now let's go to the cash flow section, because now if I want to track the rent collection, what is the best way to do it? So on the manage, from the menu, you have the cash flow section. The best place is the transactions page. So here you have a few options. You can add transactions manually by click add transaction, put the date, the type, if it's expense or income, or purchase cost. Purchase cost, basically it's a capital expense, so it will not be on your ongoing cash flow, but it will be added to the entire purchase costs of this property. So it will impact the cash investment of this property. So let's say you replaced kitchen and you don't want to allocate it to the ongoing cash flow. I can show it after that on the profit and loss page. The description of the expense, say insurance payment, and the property that you want to allocate this expense to, and the amount. This is the manual way to do it. And if it's a general expense, you can use the entity called entire portfolio. So let's say that you have a software subscription or accountant fees. You don't want to allocate to a specific property, you can allocate it to the entire portfolio. And you will see also companies that you define on this account. So you can also allocate it to a specific company. So this is one way to do it. Another way is to use the import, and here you can upload a CSV file of expenses and income transactions, and then you can allocate them to properties and tenants. But the best way we recommend is to link your bank account, and for that you will need to use our premium version. We use Applied as our provider to link your bank account. You can just search for your bank account in this list. It should support the vast majority of banks in Canada. And then you need to put your credentials and it will be linked to your account. So starting this point, you will be able to manage your income and expenses on Lendlord automatically. I will not link it right now, but I prepared predefined transactions. So what happens after you link your bank account? A Lendlord, the platform, will retrieve your transactions from your bank account in a secure way every 24 hours, and you will see them on the transactions page. And you will also, when you log in, you will receive a wizard. But let's say now that I received these 4 transactions, what you need to do is to go and click on the edit icon. So basically, I received this transaction, rent. I need to allocate it to a specific property. So I select the property. This is the amount. And on the payment dropdown, I need to allocate it to a specific payment. So this was in the date in October. So yeah, I think I allocated before the going out to October. I will allocate it to 1st of November. Let's say that he paid the rent before. Then I can put a category and I click Save and Allocate. When I click Save and Allocate, because now I'm using it without a bank account, it will just allocate it to the rent payment on the payment schedule and on my profit and loss. Once you link your bank account, the platform will ask you if you expect to receive this transaction every month. And then you will need to click yes. And then starting this point, the platform will recognize automatically that this description and this amount should be allocated to this property and this tenant. So basically, you just need, for starting this point, to review the transactions that are being allocated automatically. So just for this exercise, I will go now to the payment schedule. I will select this property. And you can see that this was paid. This is what I did. This is the transaction I allocated before the webinar. And this is the transaction I just allocated now. And it was paid for November. You will also see it on the profit and loss. I will select this property. And you can see that if I click on the monthly income, edit, this transaction basically was allocated on the profit and loss, and you will see it on the reports as well. And then if I go back to the transactions page, I can do it for all the other transactions. So have accountant, let's sort an accountant fees. In this case, I want to allocate it to the, the entire portfolio. And I will select the category. The categories are predefined categories of the platform, but you can change the names or the colors by clicking on the edit icon. And you can add your own category. So you can actually change the entire list if you want. You can also click edit, you can delete this category and create different ones. Okay, so let's allocate the contents. I also had the roof repair. Let's say it was allocated for this property. In this case, I want to allocate it as a purchase cost for 561. Let's say if I have repairs, refurbishment, and the mortgage payment. As well, platform already recognized this is a mortgage cost category. Now let's go to the profit and loss page. Let's select the property. Okay, so the purchase costs, you can edit the purchase costs from this box, purchase cost, click edit. On the right sidebar, you will see all the purchase costs associated with this property, and you can add costs. With this will impact the cash investment of this property, that will impact the cash on cash on this property. On the upper side of the chart, you will see it on a monthly basis. And on the bottom, you can see the annual. So for the entire 2022, basically what was, currently I'm on net cash flow, but I can see the income, the expenses, or the yield, or cash on cash. And I can see it also for the entire portfolio. So just to summarize, in order to manage your cash flow, if you link your bank account, you can allocate it once, and then the next time it will be allocated automatically, and all the transactions will be retrieved to your account. If you do it, if you don't have so many expenses, you can just, or income transactions, you can just add them on a manually, sorry, or you can import a CSV file. Another important report is the expenses breakdown report. So if you allocate to categories, you can see how much you spend on each category for the entire portfolio or for a specific property. All right, so yeah, I think that we are almost done. So I show you like also the reports section of the platform. One more thing, like last thing before the questions and answers, I wanted to show you the interactive report. So it can be accessed from the menu, but you will also receive a weekly email that will link to this report every week. This is a very useful report to see the current situation of the portfolio. You can see the current equity level, what is the current portfolio loan to value. If you want to increase the loan to value of the entire portfolio to 70%, how much equity you can release. And of course, you can play with that. So if I want to go to 60%, this is the amount of equity that I can release from my portfolio. You can see the performance. If you track the transactions on a monthly basis or weekly basis, you can see the net cash flow and some other metrics. You can see the top performing properties in terms of highest cash flow, which property has the highest cash on cash, highest gross yield, highest net yield, and also from the other side, the worst performing properties. And if you define some prospect properties that you are currently viewing, something that you can view easily from here as well. And then you can click on these boxes from the back to review specific property. So for instance, this property, the current value is this, but if I think that it changed, I can just change it from here. What is the current mortgage on this property, the current equity, the loan to value of this specific property, and the performance of this property. And you can see also the rank of this property if you compare it to the other properties on this account. So in terms of net cash flow, it ranked 3 out of 10. And also you can edit the monthly figures from this interactive report as well. And then you can just go property by property, review the data, and tweak what is needed to be tweaked. All right, I think this was, and sorry, last thing is the finance side. So currently we integrated a mortgage search together with the partnership we have with HomeWise. So you can see the current rates from mortgage lenders. Soon it will be integrated to the deal analyzer. So once you analyze deal, in one click, you'll be able to see the mortgage available to fund this specific deal. And in the future, we will also have some alternative lending directly from this platform. But currently it's very enhanced search. You can apply different filters based on the location, the type, and of course the figures of the specific potential acquisition. Also, if it's a purchase or a mortgage. So the finance side is also something that we are developing, and currently you have the mortgage search available. So this was the high-level overview. And yeah, so feel free to ask questions. And Daryl, if you want to add something, or TK, feel free. All right, so I think that we are in the end of the webinar. One important thing, the platform is now basically, we just launched in Canada, and we need your feedback, and we are enhancing the platform every day based on feedback. Yeah, I think we have a question from Natalie. Yes. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Natalie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good. Everything is good.
Does it sound clear? I don't know.
Yeah, you sound
okay.
Sound good. Yeah.
Thank you for the presentation. I unfortunately made it into your Zoom call, I think, when you were taken over by the Russians.
Sorry for that.
But that's okay. I don't know what was happening, but I figured there was something weird. So I guess the thing that I would be concerned about here is what exposure do we have from a security perspective with this app? So I understand there's a free version and there's a premium version. Is there a guarantee behind the premium version that if I start uploading my banking and my asset information, that it won't be exposed to third-party companies or potentially leaked in unsafe places?
Yeah, so great question. So first, in terms of the entire security of the platform, so the platform is being hosted by AWS, so everything is under security groups. The communication is encrypted. The passwords are hashed, and no one has access to your password. And we invest all the time in security. We have a dedicated team member just for that. No one can access your data. The only way that, so let's say that if you have an incident or like an issue that the support team needs to investigate, they need to get your permission in writing over the chat that you can use, by the way, to ask also questions or to provide us with feedback. and we are not passing on any of your details to third parties. The current third party, the only third parties that we work with in Canada right now is HomeWise. And basically, if you apply for a mortgage, basically you need to start, it's a different process. So there is no data that is being transferred from Lendlord to HomeWise. But if we will link data, it will be just with your permission. So we will need to get the user consent in order to do something like this. But the platform is secured. You can also, and we recommend to apply a two-factor authentication to your account, so to make it even more secure for someone to access. But the data is secured. We have daily backups of the database, and the entire data is basically encrypted. So hope it answers. And in terms of the bank linkage, so we don't do it by ourselves. We use a trusted provider, Plaid. So they are, like, for instance, in the UK, they are regulated by the FCA, and they have their own credibility. We and also them, that we don't store your credentials for the bank account. We just get using the open banking that becomes standard, a read access only from the bank account. So we don't have any other way to impact your bank statement or something like that. It's a secured connection, read only, to get your transactions, to make it easier for you to allocate into specific properties. And it's using the standard of open banking. So yeah, hope it answers the question.
Yeah, that definitely does. So I guess the follow-up question I would have to that is the two-step authentication and all the other additional security measures in place for both the trial version as well as the premium version of your app? Because I'll be honest, like, what I'd like to do is start like functioning with some of the features of your app with my personal, real estate portfolio. But I would be apprehensive unless I knew, while I was trying the trial version, that my information was safe. Or would you recommend that I just use like some proxy address that isn't relevant for, personal information?
I think so. First, there is no difference in terms of the security from the trial or free version to the premium. It's like the same measures and like the same level of security. I do recommend to enable the two-factor authentication from the settings page, and I think the platform will pop up it at some, like, from time to time if it recognizes that it was not applied. And I don't think you should worry about like the IP, because the authentication is secured and all the communication is encrypted. So yeah, and so I would just like start with like enabling the two-factor authentication, and there is no difference between the trial version to the premium in terms of the security of the platform.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Natalie. All right. Any other questions? Okay. So last thing, I mentioned it when I spoke with Natalie, you have this chat. So if you have any issue, you can contact the team and ask questions, or if you have feedback, we really want your feedback, because we just launched in Canada and we are adding more features. We're adjusting the platform. By the way, Lendlord is currently active in the UK. And now basically we're starting to work with real estate investors in Canada. So feel free to use this chat. We try to answer within the like 1 hour or 2, but it can be up to 24 hours. Yeah, so thank you for joining, everyone, and apologize again for the hacking that we had in the middle. And we'll try to do more webinars on like to deep dive into different sections of the platform. So thanks everyone, and have a great evening. Thank you.